come with me. Leave all your things, yeah. We can stop at Gucci, stop at Louis V, yeah. It's Drakos, it's Caedrel. We're getting ready for Schalke 04 versus Misfits. We're pumped. Music gets us pumped. So you're always going to just get a snippet of whatever song we're currently hyped on at that exact moment. But here's another one to get hyped about, because we are moments away from picks and bans. So how about we jump into it?
We're not jumping into it just yet, are we? Are we jumping?
I don't know. The music says jumping. The timer says no. What are we doing? Timer says no. So we're going to talk about League of Legends.
Yeah.
And with music like this, we're going to give an inspirational Rocky-esque speech. Never mind, it's going on this week. This is your time. This is your moment. You've trained years for this. There's just pictures of random athletes in the background.
No, it's the LEC teams flying for the playoffs race. You've been training all split long.
You've sweated for this moment.
It's like Schalke, XL, Misfits. Who's going to make it?
While others were sitting at home, running it down in solo queue, you were training, you were working hard, and it's all come down to this moment.
This very moment.
And obviously that's a little bit over the top, but I mean, it is true. We're about a minute away from Champ Select, as it turns out, which don't let it deflate the hype, because this game actually is very important. The closer and closer we get to the end of the split, the more these middle of the table matches start to mean more and more. And for two teams that were for a while very far apart from each other, Schalke pulling ahead early on, they're now neck and neck, Caedrel. We got 10 seconds left. What do you got for me?
Schalke XL neck and neck. It's the race for playoffs. Who's going to get the 6th spot? Everyone's presuming SK, Madden, Fnatic will secure it alongside G2 Rogue, but Misfits are here to upset. If they can 2-0, they're back in the race, baby. Oh, I love this one.
This is a banger. This is Game 5. Game 1, Game 5. How are they so good? Already, Zoe immediately banned away. Not surprised to see it taken out of the hands of Vetheo. But again, jungle mid is a lot of what we are looking at today after the success that Misfits found yesterday and after the struggles that have been going on for Schalke when it comes to Gilius' impact on, let's say, less Gilius-esque champions like the Nidalee.
Yeah, we've highlighted it so many times. I think that ever since the patch, or not even the patch, the playstyle that Schalke have adopted, the difference in changes, and sort of the patch where the Olaf Pantheon fell out, I feel like he didn't really find these playmaking champs, and Schalke kept trying to run this double AD, AP jungle, and Gilius was playing things like the Nidalee, the Lilia, even things like the Jarvan, trying to be proactive as he can. We haven't seen enough from him, I think. As we see Lilia banned out already. Zoe taken away from Vetheo, like you said. This guy's only had it twice and he's been popping off on it, so he's not allowed it for the rest of the split, it seems. And Abbedagge's Azir also banned out, which is one of his best picks, I would say.
Razork's Graves also taken off the board, so limiting a lot of these options. Rel going to be the final ban here. In general, feels like the S tier support now. Maybe that changes as more of the range supports show their face in the bottom lane, but for now still looks very powerful.
Yeah, Senna time is what I'm looking at here. Is the strongest kind of bot lane available. Kai'Sa did get a little bit nerfed, so it's not too much of a first pick, but there's the Senna. You'd expect that to be paired up with the Tahm Kench. Now, the reason that Senna Tahm is so good is it's just such a nullifying lane and it scales so well, and having that Tahm as a frontlining which farms is really useful, but it can be shut down quite easily against a double ranged matchup in the bot side. I think that's more of a Gragas flex. I think Ezreal Gragas in the bot lane is not the greatest 2v2 into the Senna Tahm Kench, so I'm expecting that Gragas to go towards the jungle all the top.
HiRit obviously has been playing the Gragas pretty well. You can remember the games where he's been able to teleport down to bot lane, bail out some of the more difficult games from Kobbe and VandeR. But Kobbe yesterday on his Ezreal was an absolute monster, putting out huge damage numbers in what has been an otherwise quiet split. So maybe he can repeat that performance today, as now we see the Twisted Fate locked in as well. We've seen so much Twisted Fate getting through the ban phase, Caedrel.
Yeah, TF was super strong pick yesterday, especially for Rogue, just going around the map, making sure you can make these plays happen. And if you can unlock the TF and make sure he has a decent mid matchup, he can be all around the map and be active on both sides, as we see. TF picked in. I want to see if they go for the Tahm Kench here. I think they need to go for it, otherwise they can go for their jungler. And as you said, the damage dealt, he was popping off the damage shards to Kobbe. I think one key thing I want to highlight what differentiates these two teams is Gilius has only a 14% damage share for his team, whereas Razork has a 21% damage share. So that just kind of shows the difference in aggression from both junglers. As we see the Olaf picked up. So Senna's picked alone here. Looks like they might have a few combos to work with, but the TF Olaf, and we talked about Gilius, he needs to be proactive, he needs to start doing things, and Olaf is one of the champs which you felt like he was actually being able to do these things on.
Absolutely was. Of course, Olaf has taken a number of hits in terms of both itemization with the Gore Drinker nerfs, as well as nerfs to his own kit in terms of overall healing over the last few patches. That said, Can still expect it to be the same Olaf that we've come to know and love. Very early impact, as well as some pretty decent scaling options. That said, how will it match up against Razork's Hecarim? Now, Razork, I love this guy on things like the Graves, any champion where he can just kind of power farm and be this huge powerhouse for the team, but the Hecarim's a bit more of a question mark for me.
Yeah, I think Hecarim's just such a good team fighter, scales pretty well, and it's really good against things like the Senna, because you can kind of zone them away from the fight because you do so much damage to them. If they walk up too far, you can ult onto them. So they're banning away the Nautilus. Looks like they might leave open the Tam Kench, and I would expect Misfits to have an answer into this Senna lane because they didn't pick their support yet, and I think that Drakos is going top. So one team doesn't have a mid, so you can see the Seraphine already banned out away for the support / mid lane role. Yes, we saw VandeR on that Seraphine yesterday, and he was doing super well with Kobbe on the Ezreal, so they want to deny that bot lane matchup, or even the Seraphine flex. But this Drakos, I'm pretty sure it's going top. Nautilus taken away. I'm expecting Schalke to pick up the Tam Kench.
Taking their time on this one, kind of debating as to what options they want to do. Will it be another range support banned away, trying to stop the potential for the punish on the Tam Kench's lane? What is the focus going to be? Could also try to set up a favorable mid lane matchup for Abbedagge, but TF in general kind of just chills and then eventually goes somewhere else. Doesn't necessarily need to win out in the 1v1, although we saw it yesterday what can happen if you're able to pressure that mid lane so much. Now the Yuumi will actually be the ban away here.
And that was Abbedagge yesterday on the Tristana, pushing in Larson, getting his playthings, being so strong. But yeah, he actually left Tristana open. They are going to go for the Rise into TF, which is one of the best answers we've seen across the world in general, especially in regions like the LCK. The Rise into TF is such a good pick because you can kind of match him on the ults by pushing in the lanes and keeping on the tower. By the time you actually push in the wave and move into river and TF ult to a side, you can respond with your ult just in time. So Rise also wins on the side lane against TF. So really good pick up by Misfits. I really like how their comps meshing well together. I'm expecting a range support last pick. We'll have to see what Schalke have for the top lane.
I'm also just glad we're not seeing another composition where we have like triple AD threat and we get to see an Aatrox just build a single Randuin's and be absolutely unkillable, because that was a big problem yesterday, and it certainly was a problem for Schalke as they moved into the late game. Now, Broken Blade did not have the most standout performance on the Renekton yesterday, but maybe he can turn it around this time. In general, Renekton just a pretty safe pick.
Yeah, I think Schalke's adapted from yesterday. You can see they have the TF Renekton now. Yes, Broken Blade was playing the Renekton to Aatrox against the TF, but now they've taken the TF into their own hands. We'll see if they can snowball top as hard as Rogue did against them yesterday. But there's the Tam Kench pick. I really like what Misfits have done here. They've saved their last pick for support just to make sure that they've got this Ezreal lane. They want to make sure that they get a good range support counter pick into the Schalke lineup of the Senna Tam Kench, and it's going to be the Karma. The Ezreal Karma is a very oppressive lane, super good into the Tam Kench, and because the Tam Kench is a melee champ and needs to last hit and get the farm himself, you just play double range into it and you can punish him.
The last time I saw this bot lane that I remember very clearly was 2016 when Reckless and Yellowstar were playing it. It has been so long since I've seen an Ezreal Karma. Many metas ago, even when Karma's come back, it feels like we haven't seen this pairing. And I'm going to have to see what Misfits Gaming bot lane can do, because they were a solid part of that win yesterday. That said, so many globals or semi-globals on the side of Schalke, no fear. Misfits are going to have to be very sure about the fights they pick in this game.
Yeah, you hit it on the nail right. Like, Schalke's comp is all about globals and playing over sides. You've got the TF ult, the Tam Kench ult, and the Senna ult to play over sides and make sure TF can win the side lane. Whereas Misfits have Rise, who wants to contest TF. You'll see a lot of collapsing towards these side lanes, but I think Misfits is more favorable in the team fights just because Schalke's only AP damage is TF, which is more of a utility rather than a hyper carry like Azir. So definitely favoring Misfits in the team fights, but if they can win out on the sides, then Misfits might struggle.
As you said, going to have to find out who can come out on top. It's an also crucial battle for a spot in playoffs. Schalke No Fear versus Misfits. And onto the Rift we go. Now, maybe a bit quieter, at least in terms of an overall level 1. As Caedrel draws a tiny yellow line in the jungle.
I didn't draw that. It was already there, so I just
Sure.
Yeah,
Of course.
I swear, this thing always bugs on me, I'm convinced.
That's why you don't touch it. I feel like you think it's cursed. You know what I mean? It's like you know that no matter what you touch, it won't work out.
But I'll use it this time, just to do one small circle here, and I think this is the key part here. This ward that Misfits have put in the bot lane brush. Now, what that does is it secures them the bot push. I think they went with a couple members down there to make sure that they get the vision in the lane so they can't get cheesed by the Senna Tam Kench. So there's Ezreal and Karma lane can step up into the lane. They don't have to be afraid of being cheesed by the Senna Tam Kench level 1, and they can start to get the push, which is really important. And I think Schalke probably thought that they might go there. We won't try to match them because we lose the level 1.
And of course, one of the things that I like about this bot lane combo into the Senna Tahm Kench is that Senna Tahm Kench, while you called it a neutralizing lane, it is not the Rel, Kai'Sa, it is not a Samira. It doesn't really have the potential to turn this lane around. They can weather the storm, most certainly, yes, but on their own, not really a lot of threat posed to VandeR and Kobbe in the bot lane, which means instead, we get to talk about the mid lane. We get to talk about the jungle. We get to look more towards the top side of the map, and that is huge based on what we saw from both these teams yesterday.
Yeah, lots of things to look at here. I think that Misfits know Schalke have invaded by the ward on the entrance Raptors, so they know Gilius is on his top side camps. Razork is going to split the map bot side, so both teams are getting a favorable advantage here. Misfits obviously getting the Ezreal Karma in a 2v2 lane, which is what you want. No jungles will come there. Whereas Gilius actually splits the map top side, and yes, it's good for them as well, because their win condition is the Renekton and the TF. You're not going to really path into the Senna Tahm Kench lane, because they're never going to get prio and they're useless until 1 or 2 items. So they're just going to farm up on their own, try not to get chunked out as much as they can, and then they're going to play 3-man into this top side. But Gilius actually does 2 camps. He's looking to gank mid. He might want to unsplit the map here.
Phase rush. Already been procced. Maybe going to try to force the flash out from Vetheo, but there's not really a lot of follow-up there. Just a bit of pressure in the lane. Keep in mind, Gilius was spotted by the ward coming out of the Raptor camp.
Okay, if he can catch Razork here, he should be able to punish him for this red buff start, but he has the bot lane prio, so Razork can always run down to the bot side. And I think Gilius' pathing there was just a little bit confusing to me. I think he could have kept the map split and his bot lane would be fine on the tower. Chooses to try and stop the cross map from happening. Doesn't get there in time, and Razork will be able to clear his camps for free. And it's not really a jungle net advantage for either side. I think Razork just recovered well from this invade, and both junglers are even.
Gilius going to continue to farm through. It's going to be a bit slower, though, because he doesn't have any mana left. So at this point, once he clears the blue, he can go back to rapid pace clearing. But Razork is going to be much more comfortable as he clears out his remaining bot side camps before he maybe looks to reset and go for the Krugs. Scuttle spawn not too far away, so we'll keep our eyes on if there is going to be any early ganks or early action around those crabs.
Yeah, you can see how both teams' early win conditions are clear. HiRit is a neutralizer on the top, he's the weak side. Schalke's bot lane and the neutralizers in bot, they're the weak side. So Misfits have the advantage in bot, Schalke have the advantage in the top side. So I think both mid laners will play to those sides, as well as both junglers, unless maybe if one lane does push up too far, maybe they can try to collapse behind them, but that's expected where the resources will go in the early game.
Now you see Abbedagge just poking his head down, just dropping into Fog War briefly just to see if he can spot any vision. Is still spotted on the mid lane brush, so bot lane's not too concerned at this stage. There's a bit of trading here in the top lane, but ultimately, not really a lot of kill threat until Broken Blade all his abilities back up.
Yeah, both junglers trading crabs on opposite sides where their priors are, and I think Gilius is slightly favored here because he should be able to invade Razork's Raptor respawn after this crab. And he should get one small camp lead just from that alone, because Razork has the base. He can't take Gilius' respawn Raptors, so Razork is going to go back to the top side, get his Krugs, and the only real positive gain in this game for Schalke is this Raptor advantage for Gilius, who will start to snowball a little bit with that, and maybe he can get some XP differences.
And that does matter. That does start to add up. Now, XP differences is about the only impact we've seen from Gilius so far in the early games of those last few Nidalee performances, but maybe now he can start to find those kills, start to snowball his other lanes. We saw when we looked at the statistics that generally when Gilius is winning games, he's actually the one falling behind. It's his laners that he is getting ahead. He is impacting the map much more. So keeping our eyes on Gilius to see what he can do to set his team up for success in this match.
Exactly. He needs to get his team ahead, but he's playing quite selfish in this game already. You can see he's already taken the Raptor respawn, ran through mid, took a little bit of XP, pushed in the wave, got his Raptor respawn, so covering his camps well, getting himself ahead. So we'll see how that can impact the map. Can he get his team ahead by getting himself ahead? He's on the bot side of the map. There's a ward that's just been placed from Misfits bot lane. They do have the flash from the Tahm Kench and the Senna as well if they want to make this happen.
Before going into VandeR, they're going to trade the flash, so overall should be positive for the team. That's the snare connecting VandeR. No flash left. Gilius now running in. They're trying to burn him down, but they don't quite have the damage. Are they going to commit for it anyway? Gilius getting devoured, getting spit back out. The tower shot denied. Kobbe just continuing to harass here. Good denial. At the end of the day, though, so many summoners burned from both sides.
Yeah, no TPs could come in to help them out because top lane was fighting quite a lot during that trade. Abbedagge using his mid power to hover top side. And like you said, so many summoners burned. Misfits used 3 summoners. Schalke also used 3 summoners in that engage. So even trade for both sides, but Gilius is spot on the bot side. Razork moved down, but this is a 2-man dive top. Vetheo doesn't have the TP.
Empowered stun into the gold card.
Did he stun the tower?
I think he might have stunned the tower.
Oh my god, Broken Blade's gonna die.
Oh no.
Oh, you hate to see it, especially when you get one wave of mid-power.
I'm going to be honest, we probably should have popped off there, but I'm still trying to figure out if he stunned the tower. We're going to need that replay ASAP, because that, either Gragas instantly got 60% tenacity, or we had a bit of a misclick.
Yeah, I think Abbedagge stunned the tower there. I have to just see just to make sure, but I think they tried to chain CC it. Broken Blade holds his stun, waits for Abbedagge to get in range, the stun hits, then the stun hits the tower, so then Broken Blade gets aggro, HiRit punishes the engage, and the 2v1 goes horrendously.
Oh no!
For the side of Schalke. Broken Blade gets taken down, and that's first blood for HiRit, who's the weak side for the whole game, and then he just danced on him.
Oh my god. That was rough. That was brutal. That was an oopsie, is the generous term to call it. Hey, Caedrel, as long as you're drawing on the telestrator, can you put up one of the appropriate faces for this exact situation?
Yeah, let me just get this
one. Is this one here? Yeah, that is what it is, folks. That's tough. Now, at the end of the day, it's a small advantage. The embarrassment is going to last longer than any significant advantage from the side of Misfits, but still, that's a rough one. Have to come back and compose mentally.
I mean, yeah, it does happen, right? Pro players do make mistakes like this. I mean, I think binding something like Target Champions only could have helped them in that dive, but Abbedagge, just a slip-up mistake. Broken Blade does die. It doesn't mean the end of the world for them. Yes, Broken Blade's still winning this lane. He's going to be a little bit behind in XP, and HiRit's going to be able to build tank items. And if they fail the top side play, it means Misfits can just keep the bot side control, right? If you get your top side ahead, maybe you can move them to mid into bot and start to control the whole map, but Misfits just happy scaling in the bot side. Yes, they haven't got too much of a CS advantage in this bot lane, so Schalke aren't really out of it from that play alone. Just one slip up has put them a little bit behind on the top side of the map, but in terms of the whole game state, it's quite even, I'd say.
Overall, definitely. But I think you brought up something good with the itemization, and again, we have a very AD-focused composition from the side of Schalke, so putting HiRit ahead, allowing him to get more armor items early on, can have much bigger costs when it comes to team fights later. Having a strong front line certainly is one of the tools that Misfits need to win out on these team fights, so we'll keep our eyes on that one. But as the game state calms down a little bit, we've got a bit of a pressure here on the bottom side. Still waiting for level 6s to come through. You can see a bit of EXP discrepancies there in the bot lane. I think it's important to remember why we talk so much about standings, but it is very close here near the bottom of the table. And of course, for Misfits, beating someone that you're competing with regularly is massive. And for Schalke, losing games like this to teams below you in the standings is devastating to your playoff chances.
Yeah, and if Misfits were to take this win, they'd be tied with Schalke, and SK is against XL, I believe, later in the day. So if that does go in favor of SK, then there's essentially like a three-way tie for the 6th place. So this game is very important for both teams going into the later half of the split. And Misfits have a small lead. Like you said, the only real AP damage on this roster of Schalke is Abbedagge. And he's already going to be a utility TF. He's probably going to build towards Everfrost, Rapid Fire Cannon like we saw Larsen do yesterday. So if he is this utility build, doesn't have this Burst Mage, then Misfits can just build full armor here. It's going to be sitting on the side lane happy. And if he does get 1v2'd or tries to get dove 1v3, then the more tank items, the better. And he can just stall longer and longer, so this Misfits bot lane can keep freezing, pushing in, getting plates, and trying to get a CS lead. But for now, only around 10 CS up. They haven't taken the bot side Drake yet, haven't taken any plating, so Schalke bot lane is doing really well to just manage on and just hold on this bot side.
Yeah, 15 CS discrepancy between Limit, of course, and Kobbe, who are both the two farming carries. Important to note that the Senna Souls, after the patch changes, do give 8 gold too, so I imagine relative gold income is probably somewhat similar for the bottom lane. And when we look at it, we'll check in on how these first items start to come
popped. He's ulting down towards the bot side. VandeR doesn't have flash yet.
Lock up, again, still locked down. VandeR has no room to maneuver. Kobbe throwing the ult down, but VandeR just going to drop. He can't stop this play from happening. Schalke grab a quick kill.
This time, Abbedagge lands the stun. VandeR's flash is not up for around 20-30 seconds. They punish that super well. Limit goes in, and Neon picks up the kill. That's definitely where you want the resources to go. So Abbedagge realizes top side is a bit difficult. Diving HiRit might not be the play now. And he just goes towards the bot side, punishes that flash that VandeR had to blow on the early gank that Gilius did. And Gilius has been a bit quiet, actually. Like we said, he needs to get his team ahead. He's a little bit down in CS. He's on the top side of the map here, looking towards HiRit. Maybe he's going to try a gank. Maybe he can try and start up the Herald. But Abbedagge doing well to make sure he can snowball his team.
He is. Of course, he's going to lose a wave here in the mid lane as he does collapse. Maybe just 2 or 3 creeps as Vetheo is going to be able to... Oh, no, maybe. Yeah.
We'll get the plating, yeah.
Is going to grab that extra 160 gold, so he's going to be feeling pretty good about that one, especially with the tier already stacking. Razork also moving up. They're ready to contest this Herald. Here it's balanced out the wave, and this means that Schalke aren't really going to be able to double down on the advantage they built in the bot lane. Watching Vetheo as he steps forward. Eyes on HiRit as well. The gold card from Abbedagge is important, but if he oversteps, he's a very squishy TF. Knocked right back into the team. Absolutely one shot. The ignite from VandeR is going to finish the job, but now Gilius trying to barrel his way through the rest of the team. HiRit backing off. Misfits debating, do they want this fight? Schalke 4 members, a bit beefier health bars. Now all 5 members of Misfits in the area. Both sides are just going to have to back off here. Bit of an overstep from Abbedagge.
Yeah, Vetheo's going to push in this mid wave and move towards the Herald. They should be able to secure this. I think Schalke started the Herald way too early. Neon and Limits were not even past the tier 2 mid yet. They were trying to collapse onto the Herald. They started too early. Abbedagge gets caught out. I think the reason Abbedagge stood up towards the line of Misfits is he had flash up, right? He thought he felt safe. Razork ulted in, knocked him back to CC chain. Even though he flashes away, he dies to ignite. So they pick up a kill, they pick up the Herald, and it's exactly what Misfits need, especially when you're playing this double-ranged bot lane matchup who are now moving to the top side. You expect Razork to base and start to help them out.
Yeah, and you look at the hacker room again. Early game, it was Razork falling a little bit behind in camps, but now he has started to pull ahead. But when you look back at this play, you can see the instant engage that comes in the second this control ward is placed down.
That vision line, they didn't actually know Abbedagge was there until the last second, but one small vision frame saw him, gets ulted back into his team, dies to the ignite, and Schalke tried to do a re-engage because Neon and Limit have finally arrived, but HiRit too tanky, they can't overcommit into the rise. Kobbe was on the way as well. So that would have been a 5v4. And if they overcommit too far, I think Vetheo and Kobbe could have cleaned up. So smart decision to back off from Schalke there. They lose the Herald, they lose a kill, and Misfits have control of the game.
HiRit looking more and more confident in this lane phase as well. You can see not even a 1,000 gold lead between the teams, but Schalke and Northia not quite able to leverage a lot of their global advantages. We've seen one play there on the bottom side from Abbedagge, but getting caught out there on that Herald is pretty devastating. That said, we're now seeing a bit of a lane swap as Neon and Limit are pushing in on the top side. Senna notorious for having pretty just trash overall wave control. It's a little bit easier when your Tahm Kench gets to buy a Bommy's Cinder, but still taking a brief moment to find some pressure here in top.
The Senna Q cooldown is so long in these early stages of the game. Hard for them to push in the waves, and both bot lanes matching each other on the top side. Gilius gets a bit stunned up there. Misfits aren't going to fancy the 2v2, and this is all what it comes down to, right? You can see the mid-jungle 2v2 is so important getting to top side first, because whoever has the mid lane control and the mid-jungle vision on the top side of the river can push top, essentially. So both teams kind of contesting that a little bit. Razork's actually level up on Gilius, and Vetheo's a level up on Abbedagge, so just a net advantage there for the mid-jungle Misfits from the fights and from the farm in general. So they definitely have a strength in the top side, they have a strength in mid. So Schalke, instead of going towards the top side and contesting this 2v2 of Misfits, let's go to Drake instead.
Well, it's a decent option for scaling later in the game. Right now, they are going to be the ones to immediately lose, as Misfits are going to grab a few tower plates uncontested here on the top side. Remember, the Herald is in the back pocket of Razork. They can drop this anywhere they want to try to break the map open.
Yeah, when this dragon goes down, they know Gilius is bot side, so Vetheo can just push in and move towards top, and then they can 4-man Herald this tower if they want to. They have a big window, but Abbedagge has just sprint across the whole map back to top side. Gilius has gone to his red. If they know where the jungle is, they can look for a dive if they want to, but looks like they're just going to place the Herald and just pick up some platings onto Kobbe.
And Limit's relatively tanky. It's not a complete support Tahm Kench, so he's comfortable enough to step up in this circumstance. So they're not actually going to be able to break top lane tower. It feels like they had enough members there to go for it, but because of the Twisted Fate ultimate, as well as the Senna kind of missing on the map, there was not enough confidence there for Misfits to step forward.
Yeah, they didn't have information as to where Gilius was. Broken Blade has the TP, Abbedagge has the ult. They can collapse 5-man quite quickly if Misfits overstep, so not going too deep onto that tower, just getting platings, trying to scale up, because obviously I think this Misfits lineup does have the advantage in scaling. You know, their team fights are so good, they have so much CC, so much AoE damage, the Rise wins on side, the Ezreal Karma is going to be a really big problem in team fights for Gilius. On the Olaf, who can't really gap close, can't really CC, and this whole Schalke lineup just has point and click CC. They have a TF stun, a Renekton stun, that's about it, apart from the center route, so Misfits will have a lot more utility in these fights. And if they just keep scaling and don't make mistakes, they should be in a good spot getting later into the game when the dragons come, when the team fights around Baron start.
And we're going to see right now as Misfits have just kind of synchronized their backs, 3 members going back, 3 members completing mythic items. Maybe they can get something done with this pressure on the map. But with 4 minutes left to Drake, 6 minutes until the Baron, most likely just going to be a play for vision, play for a little bit of pressure here on the top side, as Abbedagge is going to be able to knock mid in. Have to imagine that he wants to back as well to grab his first item.
Yeah, Vetheo is scaling really quickly on this Rise. He's a level up onto Abbedagge still. And that's going to be a really big problem for Schalke on the side lane later on, as he will have full mid-wave control right now. And we'll have to see how the bot lane of Misfits want to play this out. They want to call their mid-jungle to get this top tier 1, because like we said from the start of the game, HiRit is the weak side for this team. He's the soak up the ganks, try to stay ahead, get as many Ruby Crystals as he can, so he's a big frontliner for his team because he has so much damage across the board, whereas Schalke is the weak side. So Broken Blade hasn't been able to snowball. We saw this yesterday as well when it got to the mid-game. You know, he wasn't snowball on the Renekton, he wasn't having as much impact, so I'd like to see Broken Blade get involved more in these plays, try to set up a dive on bot side 3-man. But what will you lose for it? That's the problem, right? If you set up these plays on the bot side, it's all good having a play, but the enemy team will always have an answer, so you'll always lose something for any play that you make.
Caedrel, really does feel like Schalke are kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here, especially now that a lot of the lane matchups that they needed to go a little bit more smoothly didn't work out as expected. As you can see, HiRit is really unconcerned about Renekton's damage output, and when he finishes the Gore Drinker, he's going to win out in maybe more extended trades, but it's not like his damage shoots through the roof up against a very tanky Gragas.
Yeah, we've seen this matchup so many times, Gragas into Renekton. If the Gragas is even or ahead, just basically means Renekton can never really trade with him. Gragas will just hit him with the body slam and run away and always cue the wave in his face, so he can always push in the wave as well. So Broken Blade can't snowball his lane on his own. He's had TP as well for the last 5 to 6 minutes. He hasn't been able to use it because his bot lane are weak side. Gilius has been farming, but so is Razork, so Misfits just matching everything Schalke does, and eventually they'll outscale him. So Schalke needs to start pulling the trigger soon and making these TF ults happen, and trying to snowball bot as Neon gets chunked out from the Misfits bot lane.
Big Chunk is just going to use heal as well, I believe, coming in from the Summoner Spellbook from Limit, just trying to stay high health as Razork and Vetheo are ready with the collapse. Now Gilius potentially going to get caught out here, going to be forced to use the Ragnarok in a moment as he zooms out to safety.
Razork.
TF ready with the response, but Gilius now trying to fight the 1v1, the Gore Drinker coming out maybe. Gilius walking away, Olaf able to survive. Now Abbedagge in the fight, Vetheo definitely stronger. They have to take their moment. That's the gold card. Senna ult now coming in to empower the shield. Point and click CC there just in time, denying the Realm Ward, but no, gets the 1-for-1!
Oh man. man, Abbedagge had heal in that play when he ulted in. He just about saved Gilius, but it turns horrific for Misfits as Schalke collapse. Broken Blade finally can use his Team P to get involved in these fights. Doesn't pick up a kill, gets an assist, but Vetheo trades back. It could have been a 2-for-0 for Schalke, but Abbedagge steps up too far. Vetheo punishes that, and it ends up in a 2-for-1.
Oh, and Caedrel. This looked grim for Gilius. I'm going to be honest, this looked completely and totally doomed.
Yeah, I think the TF ult here comes in, and I think Abbedagge has healed at the last second, pops it onto Gilius just to keep him alive, that last tick of HP. And then Vetheo's kind of stuck in a 1v1, but look at Schalke collapsing. Broken Blade's TP'd above them. Here it's saving his TP because there's nowhere to TP to because they're so deep in the enemy jungle. The Realm Up almost casts, but he does kill Abbedagge.
And that's a product of him pulling ahead in the mid lane, that he is able to do so much damage in that exchange. He's now well on the way to the Archangels as well. And as good as that was for Gilius and for Schalke, they're now going to look to set their sights on the second Herald. Decent objective to have. Hopefully allows them to break open mid lane, which will free up TF to move across the map. But still, not a significant advantage. Only 300 gold in the favor of Schalke.
Yeah, Schalke picking up this Herald off the back of that play, but HiRit does have the TP, right? So if Misfits want to pull the trigger towards the top side again, then they can look to use that TP because Schalke have taken this top tier 1. That means that they will have the Herald for this mid-tier 1 as well. So Schalke do have a lot of tools in their kit. It means that Abbedagge, when he goes top, can push out the waves quite deep, ult towards mid. And Schalke have the Herald for the mid-tier 1 if they ever want to try to force something. So Misfits need to start being a little bit more responsive to these plays, a little bit more calm, I think. They have the outscaling, they just need to control the game more and not over-chase into their jungle and take fights too deep in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, and obviously, you can see why Misfits wanted to go for that previous play, but again, if you're caught sleeping for even a moment against a team with this many globals, you will get punished for overextending. Now the Herald immediately going to be used mid lane. Not much of a wave to back it up. One will be coming slowly. Bit of a process to get it in. Ezreal going to hit onto 3, and Schalke, I think, are going to have a hard time backing this up.
Yeah, Misfits had full control of the bot side river, so Schalke pushing the mid wave. They pop the Herald. Misfits have to answer, so now they can walk into the river. But they did get chunked out quite a lot. Here it's in.
Fishing for the play. Limit now knocked back to that tech. The team, he can't eat himself. Limit going to be in trouble. Snared up, locked down. Gilius barreling to the backside, but it's Kobbe looking for the 1v1 up against Abbedagge. The flash forward, he lines up the Q. Is the timing good? It is. The auto to finish the job. Kobbe's not taking any risks, and Misfits are obliterating Schalke. Realm Warp to come in. Nothing left for Gilius. Point and click him down with the Rune Prison, and Vetheo on fire in the back end of that fight.
4 kills for Misfits. That's absolutely huge. The Drake's up. They should be able to get the mid-tier 1 as well. And Schalke got way too poked out. You could see the theory behind what they wanted to do there. They want the Herald mid, push in the wave, and then move towards the Drake when Misfits answer. But Misfits poked them out so much that HiRit sees an engage. They finally engage, and Schalke collapse.
And clutch from HiRit, again, a player that we've looked at to step up. He's talking about how free it's been for him when he's just been able to play through mid lane. He now gets to wander into the mid lane play, come in with a flash body slam cask, and walk away with a potential MVP in the back end of that one.
Yeah, Schalke crashed the Herald, but look at their HP bars. Neon split, 2 members get locked up by HiRit, and the knockback was beautiful. Limit gets taken out. Neon can't join the fight. Abbedagge is trying to use Ghost to run away, and Broken Blade's also split, so Misfits staying as a ball, but then taking the skirmishes as they progress, as they get chunked out, and then they play the fight super well. Eventually, Realm Warp comes in from Vetheo just to chase down Gilius, who has no flash. Playing the Ghost Olaf, did use the ult in the fight as well. Neon has flash in the back end of that fight too, just to get away.
And I think on the back end of that one, that play at the end of the day, mostly HiRit kicking it off. But you can see who did all the damage. 3.5k to Vetheo. And after that first Zoe game, I was hyped on Vetheo. The next few games brought that hype down a notch. But after the performance yesterday, Caedrel, after yesterday, I might be back on the Vetheo train. Because when you look at his scoreboard, 407, putting out big damage numbers left and right, this man was an absolute force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, had a great game yesterday against XL. Played super well in that Orianna, and today on the Rise as well, popping off, doing his job, and he's 2 levels up on Abbedagge. Like we said, the Rise will win the side lane against Abbedagge. Abbedagge failing the top dive, was proactive around the map, but being proactive around your side lane is all good and dandy. But if you leave the enemy mid to scale and out-farm you and push in, get your platings, then he's going to get ahead in the 1v1. So when it comes to this side lane, Vetheo should have full push advantage in the top side, and Misfits can play towards that win condition. As you can see, Kobbe catching the mid waves with VandeR, Razork covering top side, and HiRit has had TP all this time. So if a fight kicks off, he can ult up, but the globals are coming in.
Wants to lead back to safety. It's just going to get sped up by the Karma.
Gilius popped the Ghost. It looks like they really want this fight. HiRit's TPing behind them.
TP on the backside, though. Neon and Abbedagge are exposed immediately. The knockback. Neon has nobody to protect him. He's all on his lonesome. Misfits smell blood in the water, and they're hunting. Gilius now tries to retreat with the knockback. Broken Blade is not immune to the CC. He will be forced back into the team. Misfits, again, just a fast team fight, picking off a single member of Schalke, but they are so good at it.
Yeah, Misfits' comp is so good at disengaging with the Karma, and they can just run away, and when HiRit TP's back in with Razork, they can re-engage with the Hecarim Gragas. So, starting up this Baron, Neon's dead for 10 seconds still. he has the Zeta global ultimate, but Gilius has no flash and ult to join this, so I think they're just going to have to give it up, play for this mid-tier 1 and go to the enemy bot side, put some vision down, push out the waves and try to get something for losing this Baron. But Misfits get the kill, they get the Baron, and they're going to outscale Schalke, so Schalke need to find something.
And really, at this point, Schalke got to dig deep to find that opportunity, because just moments ago, we were neck and neck. The gold lead really did not amount to much for so much of this game, but now on the back of that play, on the back of the last few plays in favor of Misfits, they're 5K ahead on top of having this Baron. That gold lead's only going to grow. That rise is only going to get more powerful. Almost 10K gold 21 minutes into the game.
Yeah, being down in gold is one thing. Being down this much gold against an outscaling comp is one thing. It's really difficult to deal with, but levels and XP disadvantages are huge, especially in 1v1s on side lanes. So Vetheo, level 15 on Rise. Abbedagge is still level 12 on the TF. Kobbe is 2 levels up. You can see Razork's a level up, HiRit's a level up. Every single Misfits member is a level or 2 up on the Schalke opposition. And that just naturally means in 1v1, 2v2 skirmishes, they'll always have the advantage, not only with the gold, but with the XP as well.
So hard for Schalke to actually do anything. Level 10 Neon, level 10 Limit, it's brutal. Now you've got an item and a half. The Rage Knife going to give Neon a little bit more damage output in these fights, start to convert some of that crit chance picked up from the Souls, but when you look at it, Kobbe just looking a lot stronger. Divine Sunderer and the fully stacked Muramana now at this point in the game. Hard for Schalke really to walk up at all, because again, the Senna Tahm Kench doesn't have a lot of wave clear. The Ezreal Rise, on the other hand, just delete minions like it's nothing.
Yeah, you're completely right. And the way they're setting up this siege is on a 4-1. You can see Vetheo could go top and match Abbedagge and push him out, but it looks like Misfits don't want to take any chances. They don't want to get caught out on sides. Broken Blade has TP, they have the Tahm Kench ult. They just want to group up and use their 5-man ball, 4-man ball, and just keep rotating around the map, as HiRit still stays at the weak side. He's on his lonesome in bot side, but Misfits don't want to make any mistakes, which I think is very important against this team.
Abbedagge, again, pressuring in here on the top. I feel like we've seen this game before, Caedrel. Abbedagge pressuring on the top side. We're going to see what he can do in this exchange overall. For now, just trying to trade something back, knowing that they can't really contest these tier 2 towers. And Misfits not feeling confident enough to try to pressure the inhibitor line.
No. I think normally when it comes to 20-21 minute Barons, the most important thing is tier 2s, because once the tier 2s are down, you can unlock the map. So Misfits pick up the mid tier 2 and the bot tier 2. So when they're down, Vetheo goes back top, catches the wave, make sure Abbedagge can't push too deep. So their next objective would be the Drake or the top tier 2, and then take the game slowly, right? You have a really good composition. All of Schalke's comp is single target damage globals, and they're behind in gold. So the only way they can win plays is numbers advantages. So staying together is super crucial for Misfits.
Abbedagge maybe hoping to catch Vetheo out here. Gilius in the area. Taking their time though. They're not gonna go for it unless they know it's a sure thing. Because again, if they make another mistake, if they lose 2 members, the inhibitor line's probably down. The game is not over, but might as well be at that stage.
This is so important. This is such a good adaptation from Vetheo. You saw him in the first couple of weeks. He was going to side lanes, pushing them mindlessly. Didn't really know where his team was. He got caught out a lot. But now you can see the evolution throughout the whole split. He's not catching these side waves too aggressively. He's staying under his towers, making sure his team is getting objectives, and he's playing safe. And then when the enemy team shows up in mid wave, he can start to catch these lanes. So Vetheo's definitely learned from his mistakes over the last few weeks, over the first few weeks, I should say, of Spring, and he's playing much, much better around the mid game.
He definitely is. The only follow-up question is, what do they add to the ban list against him next? You know, is it now is it the Rise that they have to take away? Add it to the Zoe that's so incredibly permanent, or maybe does the Zoe start to come through? It's a good question.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but Misfits sitting really, really strong in this game. They've picked up their second dragon, so I won't expect to see a Cloud Soul for another 10 minutes. But Misfits probably going to focus on the top tier 2 now, wait for the next Baron, try to find the right fight. Schalke, the only real way they can come back in this, like we said, is use the globals, use the number advantages that you can make, and use your single target damage to pick someone off. So Vetheo and HiRit, the only real members you can find, because Kobbe, VandeR, and Razork are always together.
Double dash, Broken Blade just trying to get a small trade, but you can see how little damage he actually does. That's 1.5 armor items coming in for HiRit between the Frostfire Gauntlet and the Thorn Mail.
Yeah, I said this a few times, but I think Misfits are just playing so well around the buddy system, right? There's always one person leaning to Vetheo when he's playing aggressive, and when his team's on the other side of the map, he's playing safe. But the Tahm Kench comes in, they're looking for the number advantage that we talked about.
Neon has to be careful though, he could just get one shot. The snare's going to come out. Now Neon going over the wall, but Vetheo does so much damage, the cleanse comes out. Vetheo just going to one-shot and tries to run out to safety. Razork now going to have to back off. Well played by the side of Schalke to make it still just a 1-for-1, getting that shutdown. But Razork ready for a little bit more as Kobbe leaps forward. Limit so squishy now, has to use the thick skin. Will walk away.
Yeah, these are the kind of plays Schalke need to find. They need to find number advantages with their globals. Tahm Kench ult behind, 3v2. They managed to pick up a shutdown onto Vetheo. They trade Neon's life for it, but that route from Neon was crucial. Stop Vetheo being able to use the Realm Up to get out of that fight. HiRit had the TP if you want to join, but I think HiRit's usage of TPs have been really crucial this game. He's been saving them when the fights kick off, and when he knows the fight's going to be really messy, he always makes sure he's there. So really good use of the TP, making sure he doesn't overcommit, because Schalke could have just backed off anyway if he decided to use it.
Schalke, again, going 1-for-1, getting a shutdown, that's fine for them at this point in the game. They just need to find little things until they can find a bigger opportunity. And Collapse here spotted out. They knew it was coming, and really Vetheo, I think a little bit too much here. Trying to overextend, doesn't respect the potential for the snare to come in from the TF.
Yeah, look at the range from that time control all the way from mid-tier 1 into the Gromp area. So the 3v2 was winning for Schalke. They managed to trade 1 for 1 in the end, as Misfits did collapse with their mid lane push. And just a good play from Schalke. 1 for 1 when you're behind is always good. Even trades, if you're in a losing game state, it's always a beneficial thing for you. You get shutdowns, you can push out waves, you can reclaim vision. Because look at the vision on the top side of the map for Schalke. They can't see anything. They have 1 pink ward on the entrance area there. Apart from that, they can't really see where Razork is, they can't see where Vetheo is, so their mid lane can't push, their top lane can't push. They have to kind of stay together and find their way through this jungle.
And thank you, observers, for the highlights. You can see Abbedagge hoping to get his hands on his blue buff here, but walking forward is a big risk. He's going to try to anticipate the timing, but won't be able to do it on the wild card, so instead just going to have to settle for that top wave here. Going to clear out a bit of vision. The only vision Schalke have on the bottom side of the map is he's ready for the collapse here. Neon, again, very squishy. Has to be careful because here comes the Hecarim. Now, the Devour's already out, but still, the Fear is going to come in, and Limit might just be the next target. He saves his AD carry, but it costs him his life.
Yeah, super good usage of spells from Misfits there. Just make sure you use everything on the Tahm Kench to kill him, because then you have a number advantage on this Baron. When they walk towards it, Limit's dead for 30 seconds. Has a TP. Look at Abbedagge. He's TPing bot. He knows this Baron's gone. Let's try and pick something up. I like that play. Let's not try a 4v5 when we're this far behind with our composition with globals. Let's try to push out waves, get bot tier 1. Yes, it's very, very little compared to the Baron, but it's something, right?
Second Baron of the game over to Misfits, 28 minutes in, 4 kills to 10, almost a 10k gold lead, shifting over to 9k slowly. Now Abbedagge is going to get some of that back, but this is where Schalke have to do their best to hold on to their inhibitor line, because I think Misfits are just about ready to come and knock in, especially now that VandeR has also gotten some anti-healing. It's not getting easier. That's a death cap on the rise. This is Schalke are as good as dead if they're forced to fight 5v5.
Yeah, the first Baron's always used for the tier 2s, and the second Baron's always used for the tier 3s and pushing into Nexus. So the 5v5s, like I said, definitely in favor of Misfits. They need to make sure they don't split up and get caught out by the Schalke pick composition with the globals that we've talked about all game long. Limits the person I'm looking at. Abbedagge still has the ultimate as well. So Broken Blade pushing this top wave, Vetheo could be quite dangerous for him to catch this top wave and start to push out.
For Schalke, it's a frustrating position to be in. From 4-0 win streak to now 0-5, looking down the barrel of 0-6. Not where you want to be at all in the second half of the split. Definitely not what you want to deal with when the Ezreal is almost 50%, taking 50% of the health with a single ultimate.
But then he cancelled it. Now Broken Blade TPing behind them.
TP's coming in. They're ready for the fight to kick off, but Misfits just pulling back for now. The stun connects onto Kobbe. The snare connects onto Kobbe. Kobbe potentially in trouble. Gilius is off to the backside, but keep your eyes on the front fight. HiRit is not taking any damage. Neon's doing what he can, but Razork is just running through the entire team, running onto Abbedagge. Abbedagge on the retreat, though. Schalke are fighting this so slowly. Maybe, just maybe they can turn it, but no. Abbedagge has to run for the hills. VandeR now pushing in. Kobbe already has the double. He's looking for a triple. He might be looking for even more, as HiRit is on a rampage, and Misfits are unrelenting.
Yeah, Schalke was so indecisive in that engage. Limit cancelled his ult. Broken Blade TP'd in, then Abbedagge ulted in and went for Kobbe, but then Broken Blade went for HiRit, so there was so much miscommunication there from Schalke. They fall apart. Misfits chase them down with their composition, and with this late game scaling and all those dragons and kills they picked up, they're going to be able to win this game with the Baron buff.
And the performances we've seen from Misfits in the last 2 days, it feels like a team reborn. Vetheo playing with absolute confidence, the entire team padding their stats here as they finish off Schalke in the base. It's a good look for Misfits, who will tie Schalke up to end their week 6. Both teams now sitting at 5 and 8 after a few more kills to come in here. As mentioned, got a stat pad.
That was clean by HiRit. Yeah, like you said, that's going to tie up with Schalke. Misfits are definitely back in the race, and that game was convincing. That was a really well-played game. Not too many mistakes, playing to their win conditions, and just, yeah, overall really impressive, I think.
Very good look for Misfits. And I think for Schalke, the draft felt kind of promising in some ways, but I think what we're seeing is, yes, you got the Olaf back, but this new obsession with the Kai'Sa, or not the Senna, rather, is not as good as Neon was on the Kai'Sa, and it feels like Schalke are desperately trying to refine that formula that brought them success, but with no success so far. That said, Kia player of the game at LEC on Twitter. HiRit, Razork, Vetheo. Who do you think deserves it from the side of Misfits?
Yeah, I just think that Schalke's compositions are so hard to execute because they need to do something to win. If you don't do anything, you're just going to lose. Whereas Misfits, they can just chill, win their lanes, get to the mid game, and then start snowballing from there. So Schalke definitely have a very snowbally comp. I think they should go towards some more scaling, try something easier, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, those are your options for the vote. Let us know who you think deserves it. Vetheo definitely on the rise. HiRit, though, definitely a lot of very clutch engages.
Weak side king.
Weak side king. There's a lot of weak side kings. There's weak side royalty here in the LEC. Misfits are now tied with Schalke and Excel in 6th place. So we're going to see if Excel can take on a surging SK Gaming after the break.
Excel should definitely like just try to pick up as many wins as they can. I think in the end they're gonna get like outscaled by the other teams.
Predatory, maybe able to get a little bit more back. Sweeps over the wall, but healing coming into the E, but now he's sleepy. Dan trying to follow. Big shutdown for Dan.
They are out there, waiting to be discovered. Some of them are big, and some of them are small. But that's the thing with ideas. They don't just come to you. To find them, you have to move. Kia, movement that inspires.
The systems are overloading. We can't risk another game.
We need to take a break and regroup.
We're starting to lose our mind. Captain, we cannot go back to Elo Hell. Last time it took us months to get out of it.
Initiate break protocol.
Hurry up!
Yes! Yes! I did it! We did it! We did it!
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Welcome back to the LEC. I'm here joined by Razork after Misfits claims their decisive victory against Schalke. Razork, congratulations on winning this crucial match for the playoffs. But how are you feeling? How are you feeling about the victory?
Right now, I'm really happy that we actually managed to get our first 2-0 week. I feel like last weeks we were actually having good practice, but we were not able to have the same gameplay in official matches. So I'm actually really happy that we actually managed to play the same way now this week.
Yeah, because everything seemed to be started to click for Misfits this week. And we sometimes do see teams bounce up. It could be due to so many factors. Sometimes it's teams expanding their playstyle, teamwork finally clicking, or even like a pep talk from one of the teammates. So what was the catalyst for everything going right for Misfits this week?
I think probably the best thing that we did this week was actually making sure that in practice we knew what we wanted to do and we chose the right direction and we started to play the way we feel is the best for our team. So basically we just found our identity as a team and we are now like playing better around it. So I think that's the best.
I really want to explore on the idea of identity because in an interview that I did with HiRit earlier today, he said that it almost feels like he's been playing with a different team the whole time, that Razork started working closer with Vetheo and the change clicked. Do you agree with this statement? Can you tell me more about Misfits' new identity?
Well, I think it's like we actually tried to play a lot of different things during this split, and we were playing like really complex compositions when we were not that good to play that comps, and that's why we started dropping a lot of games. And I feel like we as a team in the beginning, we didn't have like identity that we knew what we had to do in every moment of the game. But now we, as you said, we are working closely with Vetheo, so we will be more comfortable in every game. We will know what to do in every game. And we are not like just playing one game for top, one game for bot, one game for mid, and let's see what happens, you know, because we were not doing good at that. So right now we want to follow one style, and if this style is working good for us, we'll keep doing it.
You mentioned that it was like, it's not a game for bot, it's not a game for mid and top, and that's really fascinating because another thing that we noticed for Misfits this week is there is more teamwork. Even you were constantly moving around the map, not just by yourself, but working alongside VandeR, working alongside Kobbe and Vetheo. Is there an increase of team synergy, teamwork within Misfits, and how did Misfits find this team synergy?
For sure. I think me and Vetheo, we are working closely and we are actually having more synergy together. And also probably one thing that is helping the most is like in the beginning, I was actually tunneling way too much on camps and stuff. So I was like a bit selfish in that sense. I was not playing too much for the team because I was actually trying to carry every game. But I'm so happy that right now, I feel like I have such a really good teammate. So if I play for my mid, for my AD, or for my top, they will carry the game, and I don't mind if I don't have to shine, you know.
I am so happy to see this development, not only from Misfits Gaming, but also from you as an individual, Razork. Final question: last year, you were the rookie of the split, and you did go to the playoffs, but the playoffs run was short. So this spring split, what does it mean for you to once again return to the playoff stage and really once again carve your name in the LEC as, hey, I'm a jungler that is here to stay?
Well, for sure, if I go to playoffs, I don't want to get smashed 3-1 or 3-0 by Rogue and feel like I don't have the level of being in playoffs. So that's the point that we want to reach as Misfits right now. We want to be a strong team. Even if we make playoffs or not, right now I think with this 2-0 week, we all believe that we can and we have the level to go to playoffs. But I think that's the most important thing. Like I feel like last year I was the rookie and stuff, so I was like really happy to go playoffs on my first split. But right now I'm not that afraid of not go to playoffs in Spring Split if I'm gonna be, or we are gonna be a good team in Summer Split. That's the goal we want to reach.
Whatever eventually happens, best of luck, Razork, to you and Misfits for the rest of the LEC.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you so much. And we'll be back shortly after the break with our next game in the LEC Week 6.